Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well and hope everyone will have a wonderful Shabbos. This week's Erev Shabbos video Dvar Torah is sponsored anonymously with Hodah to Hashem and Brachos for lasting peace for Klal Yisrael. And we daven, as always, every week for the entire Jewish people, especially all those in Israel, davening for the return of the last body of the murdered hostage Ron Gavili to be returned to the land of Israel for proper Jewish burial. In this week's parsha, before Yaakov gathers all of the tribes, all of his sons, for their last brachos, he first has a private audience with Yosef and his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. And in that setting in particular, Yaakov seems to be reliving, re-experiencing, reenacting the critical moment in his life when he and his brother Esav were vying for the brachos of their father Yitzchak, and when Yaakov presents himself to his father Yitzchak to be blessed. The Torah describes in our parsha, Ve'ene Yisrael kavdim mizoken, and Yaakov was older and could no longer see, or at least see well, similar to how Yitzchak could not see at that time. And Yosef brings his two sons. Obviously, this is a difference. The two sons are standing before Yaakov. Vayagesh osam elav vayishak lahem vayichabek lahem, and Yaakov, they approach Yaakov, they come close, Yaakov kisses them, and Yaakov hugs them. The very similar language and description of when Yitzchak brought in Yaakov in that moment, trying to figure out, is it Yaakov, is it Esav, Vayigash, Vayishaklo, and he brought him close and he kissed him. And then here as well, history seems to repeat itself. Yaakov decides to switch his hands. Yaakov sikel es yadav. Yaakov exchanged his hands, put his right over his left over his right, and placed Ephraim, the younger son, before Manasseh, the older one, just as Yaakov received the brachos, who was younger than Esav, his older brother. And of course, the Torah describes that Yosef objects. He says, Abba, that is not correct. Manasseh is the older son, and he says, Yadati b'ni Yadati, I know my child. Gamahu Yigdal, he also will be great, but Ephraim will grow to become the leader. And he blesses them. He blesses them initially with the famous bracha of Hamalach HaGoel Osimi Kol Ra. The angel that blessed me, that protected me, should bless and protect these children. V'yidgu la'rov v'kerev aretz, and they should be plentiful in the land. And then he blesses them again. Yisimcha Elofim K'Ephraim v'Chem Manasseh, two of the most invoked brachos of all of our liturgy and tradition. The Netziv asks a very interesting question. When Yaakov decided to put Ephraim in front of Manasseh, instead of going like this, instead of crossing his hands, why didn't he say, my children, Ephraim the younger will receive the greater blessing? Switch how they are standing. Place Ephraim before my right hand. Instead of switching the brothers, Yaakov switched his hands. What is the symbolism and lesson of that? The Netziv makes a suggestion, but I share something different that occurred to me. Yaakov realized what he was doing. He realized that he was putting the younger child before the older child. And he knew from experience how much jealousy that can cause, how much friction that can cause. But he wanted to make sure that even though he felt that was necessary and understood by prophecy, that Ephraim would be the leader, he wanted to make sure that the same mistakes would not repeat themselves that happened earlier in his relationship with his brother Esav and how he received his blessings from his father Yitzchak. When Yitzchak blessed Yaakov, only Yaakov was before him. Yaakov received the blessings, the totality of the blessings, and Esav was excluded, perhaps rightfully so, but Esav was cut out. In this situation, Yaakov wanted to stress to Ephraim and Manasseh. He was saying to them, I want you to know that yes, Ephraim is receiving the more dominant blessing. But you should know that does not mean that Manasseh is excluded, just the opposite. Ephraim and Manasseh, you are brothers. Ephraim and Manasseh, you are partners. Ephraim and Manasseh, you need one another. And to symbolize that, he crossed his arms to show, look, each of you receives a blessing. Yes, they are different. Ephraim is more prominent, but your blessings intersect. Your blessings are interwoven. Ephraim's blessing can only go over and through with Manasseh's blessing. They are not two separate paths. You do not have two separate destinies. You are brothers. You are partners. You cannot be separated. You are interwoven one to the other, just as my arms are interwoven. And that is why, even after Yaakov places his right hand on Ephraim and thus gives him the more prominent position. He does not give Ephraim a blessing onto himself. He blesses them together as a pair. Hamalach hagoel osimi kora yivarech es hane'arim. The angel that redeemed me should bless these young men together, in plural, a pair. V'yikarei v'hem shemi v'shem abosai Avraham v'Yitzchak. And it should be called in them as a pair, my name, the name of Avram, Yitzchak, v'yidgu l'arav v'keref ars. And they together, they simultaneously, they one with the other, should be successful, should multiply, should find greatness amidst the land. So even though, yes, Ephraim received the right hand of Yaakov, but the blessing was given to both of them. Yaakov wanted to stress, you are partners, you must do it together, you must see the strengths in one another, and only together will you succeed. What exactly is the blessing? That you will be like fish? On a simple level, again, it means to be fruitful and to multiply. However, Rashi, according to the Medrash, points out that fish are a symbolism that since they are beneath the sea, they are hidden from view. Kedagim halalu sheparim v'rabim ve'ein ayin hara sheletes behem. They multiply, they are successful, they are many, but the evil eye does not rule over them. Since people do not see them, they are not jealous of them. The simple meaning of that means is that other people will not look at them with a jealous eye and cause negative spiritual energy to fall upon them. But homiletically, we can also read that the blessing was the ayin hara sheletes behem, that the ayin hara, an ayin hara, would not rule over them, meaning Ephraim and Manasseh would not have an ayin hara one to another. They would not be jealous. They would not be competitive. They would not try to take the prestige of the other, but instead, again, they would be partners. They would realize that their lives are interwoven, the hands are crisscrossed. They would respect one another, see the value in one another, and never be jealous of one another. And the truth is, it's not just a homiletical understanding. We know that the people who act graciously, the people who are kind, the people who share, the people who do not demand the limelight, so those people, others look upon them with a positive eye. Others are not jealous of them. The more you give, then others will be happy to give to you. And that was the blessing of Ephraim and Manasseh. That again, even though we'll have distinct roles, even though some people will have more prominent spots, some people will be more in the center of attention from a public perspective, but ultimately, Ephraim and Manasseh are brothers. We, the Jewish people, we are brothers, we are sisters. We cannot be separated. We do not have separate paths or destinies. We have to realize that we need one another. We can only be blessed if we have the blessings of one another, and we should make sure, we should try our best. We give the blessing to our children. V'yidgu la'rov b'kervars, to be like fish. To be like fish means ve'ein ayin hara sheletes behen. We should have no ayin hara towards one another, and in that merit, and as a result of that, people will not have an ayin hara on ourselves. We should not be competitive. We should not be jealous. We should be happy for the successes of one another. We should realize that we are a pair, that we are brothers and sisters. We need one another. And that was the lesson that Yaakov was trying to teach Yosef and Ephraim and Manasseh. Yesimcha Elohim k'Ephraim v'Manasseh. May we be like Ephraim and Manasseh. May there be no ayin hara amongst the Jewish people. And that is the greatest blessing that we can receive as well. Good Shabbos, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom.